Welcome to my Autism Tribe, a community of advocates that are linked by autism but bound by strength. This is a time to find our sounding board and shoulders that help us carry life's load without the fear of criticism. We give and receive. We nurture and empower. I'm your host, Susan Scott. Despite the challenges associated with autism, there are so many individuals on the spectrum that are inspiring us all and proving that challenges can indeed be overcome. One such individual is Armani Williams. He was diagnosed with autism at the age of 2 years old and was considered nonverbal. He is now the first openly diagnosed autistic NASCAR driver, and to date, Armani has 18 wins and 2 championships. His personal diagnosis with autism and success on the track inspires his philanthropy off the track. In 2015, Armani and his family established the Armani Williams Race for Autism Foundation to raise awareness and promote research, and he continues to speak to audiences and makes appearances to local communities, especially during race week, to drive action and hope. Armani, thanks so much for joining us today. I am so excited to be speaking with you. You have such a wonderful story. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey?
Yeah, so my name is Armani Williams. I'm from Grosse Pointe, Michigan. Right now, I'm a professional race car driver and also a college student as well. Really, the journey has been really long. Starting out as a kid, I just grew up, just loving cars at first. I always loved playing with cars and, knowing more about cars. And then, the more I got older, I heard about NASCAR, and I would just watch it every weekend it was on. It's just really caught my interest really high. And my future was sort of uncertain, but I was kind of fascinated with racing and felt to me in my heart, inside of me, is something that I wanted to do in life, and I at 8 years old, that's when I was fully committed to wanting to become a professional race car driver. So, I basically started out racing go-karts at a very young age, racing in the junior go-karting division, and then moving up to these Bandolero type cars, what they're called mini cups. Had some success there, raced those for a few years. And then just a few years ago, I joined a series called the Architruck Pro Series, which we raced around the Midwest, and certainly gained a lot of success there. It was definitely a learning process. But and then just a couple years ago, I joined a NASCAR, but in a different series up in Canada. They have a series up there called the NASCAR Pinty Series, but it was called the NASCAR Canadian Tire Series before, but it's now known as the NASCAR Pinty Series. So I ran in that series, ran several races there, and then just most recently, last year in 2018, I went back to race NASCAR in the United States and run some NASCAR K&N Pro Series races in the East and West. Raced down in Memphis. I raced in Seattle, and then I went back to the Pinty Series where they raced in New Hampshire, racing in the U.S. for the first time. So I was part of that race, and right now this season, the journey is still continuing. We're really looking forward to running more races with a combination of all the NASCAR Pinty Series, the ARCA Pro Series, which is the car series, and then some more K&N Pro Series East and West races as well. So I'm really looking forward this year, and just one day, we're getting close to the elite level. So that's basically a long-term goal.
That's incredible. So you said that when you were 8, that's kind of really when you made the decision to dedicate a lot of your time and energy to racing. How did that conversation go with your parents?
To be quite honest, they were kind of surprised at first because really, with my family, we don't come from a racing background. It's mostly business as usual. But when I told them about racing, at first they were kind of they weren't sure if I was ready for it, but just letting them see how much passion, how much love I had to want to become a professional race car driver. They decided to help support me in that and do everything they could to make sure that my dreamed happen, and really just really fortunate to have like parents and, everyone in my family who supports me through this, I mean, they could have easily told me, oh, no, you're not doing that type of stuff because, I mean, with racing, it's kind of a little dangerous sport, and
Sure.
as a parent and or like as a family member, you get worried about that. But, they really didn't hesitate, and still to this day, they're still helping me, working me, and helping me getting through the ranks, so I'm very proud of that.
Absolutely. I think it takes an army, a tribe of people to support just children in general. And it's amazing that you had that support system for yourself. As with autism, it is a disorder that is characteristically marked by difficulty focusing on and processing different stimuli and tasks, simultaneously, and then also complications with communication. And those are two pretty big critical key skills for a race car driver. Can you talk a little bit about how maybe you overcame some of these challenges, or maybe even how racing helped you overcome those challenges?
Yeah, I mean, really from the start, I really didn't know if I didn't really know I had autism from the start. I was busy just trying to be a kid and, just enjoy life as possible,
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as my parents kind of like, told me that I was autistic, then I kind of figured out, I had it and, what the symptoms were, so really like my parents, they kind of like helped me learn about like so social skills, how to have a conversation with someone, how to like talk with someone, how to like make some friendships and keep those friendships, because really that's the big thing with autism, is that we have difficulty with social interaction and communication, and that could like I mean, it's really a big effect on like how we actually interact with people, so I mean, really, I had to take some therapy out of that, just to get some people to kind of help me learn those skills, and then further on, my parents kind of like, helped me ways of like what conversations to have, what skills to have, and I just sort of kind of developed that all with the combination of like making eye contact with someone, not losing focus on them, and just knowing what kind of cool topics to talk about. You're always trying to find something that, someone can enjoy talking about, and then really when it came to racing, it's just, I think it made me into a whole new different person. I mean, just the way, I can just be around the racing community. There's a lot of people. So, I mean, really for me, I can like talk to like anybody I can know around here, especially with the drivers or maybe the officials or people who are actually like, in charge of the series, sponsors, I mean, really, it's kind of helped build my social and communication interactions a lot, because now I see like, what kind of things are happening around the thing I'm doing, so I mean, I'm able to kind of like overcome it, and just be focused on like those important things. And especially in a race car, I have like the ability to kind of stay focused and concentrate at all times, especially in a race car, because you're going so fast and things happen so fast that you just cannot like, take your eye off it. You got to look at what's ahead of you, so I mean, there's a lot that I have to overcome. I'm so autistic. I mean, it hasn't gone away. It's like a lifelong disorder, but really I just try to not let autism affect the way I am as a person, and just to keep enjoying my life as much as I can.
Absolutely. Yeah, you probably have so many friends in the racing community. You've been probably such a huge inspiration for people in the not only the racing community but outside of the community. Can you also tell a little bit about maybe some of the different stimuli? Like, do you have any kind of sensory challenges that you have to overcome?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I have a lot of sensory challenges. It's just some of my surroundings that I may not be familiar with. I sometimes I just can't quite understand them. And really that I kind of research things that I don't know, so that way I can see what it is. So when I see it again, I can kind of understand what's really going on and what the situation is. It just picks up the information in my brain. So like, the more I learn it, the more I understand it, And so really, I mean, I still struggle with it, but so far I've had to overcome that a little, it's just another tough thing I have to deal with. So, I mean, that's basically it.
That's great. My son, Alex, who is 5.5, he struggles a lot with sounds. And so, me thinking about him in a race car with the loud sounds of the racing, that would be almost a nightmare for him. Was that ever an issue for you, like just the sounds or the tightness of the racing?
Yeah, it was. I remember a time when I was 10 years old, and my dad took me to Michigan National Speedway because we do have a track up here. Just to watch some cars like practice out, and like really just seeing them fly by. I mean, the noise was so loud that like I thought they were gonna hurt my ears and I was gonna become deaf or something. Because
Sure.
man, it was just that loud. And it kind of bothered me. But it wasn't really the racing. There was other things that like I kind of was bothered with the sound too. Especially like when you have fireworks that shoot up in the sky and make that pow sound. As a kid, I really didn't like that. I thought they were just way too loud. And I don't know, for some reason, the more I was around racing and like, the more I saw cars go around, even with the engine sounds flying by, really the sound wasn't really an issue for me. It's just kind of like I've been there more and more and I'm kind of used to it. So really the sound doesn't have any effect on me at all, So, I mean, that's one way of overcoming it. It's just, doing it a lot, so that way you're kind of used to it. Really, as a kid, that kind of sound really bothered me, but now it doesn't bother me anymore.
So you've essentially desensitized yourself. That's great. As your communication skills, another thing that you do a lot is you speak to audiences and you make appearances to local communities, especially during race week, and speaking a lot about your nonprofit, the Armani Williams Race for Autism Foundation. That probably has helped just your communication skills, that in and of itself.
Yeah, absolutely. We're always trying to, raise awareness for our foundation, and just getting the word out to as many people as we possibly can, So like with the foundation, I gotta do these speaking engagements, and I think that kind of really helped me out with my communication and be able to connect with people and especially the audience, In high school, they had like some type of speech class, and I kind of took it because I knew someday, I was going to have to speak in front of an audience and be able to connect with people, So, I mean, taking that class and then be able to do it in like a real world, where I can just build that communication up to another level, it really helped me in the long run, and I'll be doing more speaking engagements this year, but I mean, really, it's just getting connected with the autism association organizations and associations, that are they kind of help relate to us, So really, we're trying to help build our foundation there, and just getting the people to know what autism is and what symptoms they might get into, and then just be able to help them see if they overcome those issues, and then just to help them believe in themselves and keep them encouraged, because life is always hard, but with autism, nothing is impossible. We're human beings just like everyone else. We just have something special in them, so we don't always want to get them discouraged. It's always to bring the word out and just keeping the people encouraged and not discouraged.
Oh, I think that's wonderful and absolutely critical. I know my son has, of course, he has the diagnosis of autism, but he's extremely bright, and he probably feels, and maybe you can concur, he probably feels more than most of us that are quote unquote typical. So he can walk into a room and he can literally feel everyone's emotions, I think, in that room. Like he feels very deeply. And do you experience that as well?
Yeah, I do experience this as well. Sometimes you may not see what people what people's emotions are, but you can almost kind of tell, like, especially what your kids seen, it's kind of good to kind of like see how people are feeling, and then seeing if you can do anything you can to try like help them make them feel better. I think that's the important thing. It's just once you kind of like what kind of emotions people are like getting into, it always kind of shows like the mood, to either want to go join it or like, help like make them feel better, So, I mean, really it's kind of cool that your son like sees people's emotions, and of course I can sometimes see it as well. So that's really important.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about college. Are you in your first year of college?
Yeah, this is my first year of college. I'm a freshman, and I go to Oakland University, which is right up in Rochester Hills, Michigan, and yeah, I mean, really, just as a race car driver, not a lot of drivers go to college. They basically finish off high school and then move on to careers, right? But like, with me, I wanted to try to do something different, was just to go to college because I don't know how long I'm going to be a race car driver for,
Sure.
But with college, you can always find a backup plan, find like another career that you can kind of get into, so that way, it's just so, racing's not the only thing you can do. You can do other things as well, So, I mean,
that's smart.
Really, college has been a cool experience. It's definitely different than high school for sure, but I'm just kind of fortunate to be in college and, be able to get an education, so that's always great.
Absolutely. So do you know what you want to major in, or what are you studying? What are you passionate about?
Well, right now I'm majoring in mechanical engineering, and engineering is kind of probably my second interest, because really I'm more interested in learning about cars, and how you build cars, how you tune in cars, There's always like Fortune 500 companies with GM, Ford, Chrysler products, they're always looking to build performance just by building chassis, building engines, all the different like creative engineering innovations. So for me, I kind of wanted to be a part of that and like learn more of like the mechanics of cars and, how exactly are they made and built, So that's why I'm studying mechanical engineering because of that.
That's a great pairing with being a race car driver, too. You're going to be a huge asset for some company if you should choose to go that route. I'm positive of it.
Yeah, and it's great with mechanical engineering because there's a lot of job opportunities out there, and like how you get paid too, you get paid a lot of money for doing mechanical engineering, and being a race car driver, it's more than driving the car. You gotta like know how the car works, and that comes with the mechanic side of the car. I feel like if I can understand a little bit of how like the mechanic side of the car works, then that's really gonna help like benefit down the road. So,
oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll be a true professional in every sense. Absolutely. Well, Armani, I just really appreciate you taking the time to speak with me. I think your future in the sport and then also in your profession, if you choose mechanical engineering, is so bright. It's been such a pleasure speaking with you and getting to know you a little better, and just know that you have a whole tribe here that's rooting for you, rooting for your success and your prosperity, and we only hope and wish you the best in the future.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate you having me on your podcast. It's been a pleasure.
Some may have viewed Armani's dream of becoming a professional NASCAR driver impossible. But Armani didn't accept impossible, and his great support system has made Armani's future on and off the track both remarkable and bright.